This is not another eComm podcast. I'm Ian Kaneshiro. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about just how game-changing advertising can be, especially in the launch of a product. If you've ever heard of Skoda, the European car manufacturer, a few years back, they faced a massive challenge. See, they were launching the Kamek compact SUV in an ultra-competitive European car market. And they weren't just introducing the car, they were shifting their target market from their over 50 male audience to younger families. In order to accomplish this task, Skoda leveraged Amazon's ads, tapping into the magic of strategic advertising using a creative placement throughout Amazon's ecosystem. They tailor their message to engage that desired audience. And so the results ended up being incredible. They reached over 2 million potential customers in the UK, and their favorability soared by 18% among the younger audience, and their perception jumped as well from 24% from the ages 18 to 34. And so most sellers listening to this podcast are going to be launching campaigns for $25,000 SUVs. But what's the takeaway? And it's simple. The right advertising strategy isn't just impactful. It can redefine your brand and propel your product to success. And so if you want to dominate in your niche, making advertising a cornerstone of your go-to-market and ongoing market strategies is ultra important. And so today we're talking with Priyanka, a seasoned leader with a background in finance and marketing. Priyanka's worked in the top financial roles in the US and Singapore and Dubai, and served as CEO of Opal Advertising and Marketing before joining SellerApp. And so for anyone who doesn't know out there, SellerApp is a leading e-commerce platform that helps businesses maximize their potential on Amazon using AI and machine learning technologies. And so with their reach from the US to the Middle East, they reach over 21,000 sellers globally and work with big names like Philips and Samsung. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Ian. It's a pleasure. Always talking to you.
So Priyanka, can you share a little bit more about SellerApp and your role there?
Absolutely. So as you rightfully said, Ian, SellerApp is a leading data analytics platform that helps sellers on the biggest retail giant, Amazon, to help them scale and ace their journey, whether it's brand awareness or scaling or increasing their conversions. That's what we typically do, and help sellers really, build their business out there.
And so with sellers, working to get their products in the eyes of more people, especially maybe newer sellers who are just launching products, when is the right time to start, looking at tools like SellerApp or jumping into the advertising scene in general?
I think so. Initially, when we started off, Ian, we've been like a data analytics platform that's been our primary bread and butter. We've been doing this for over 6 years. We cater to the entire spectrum of beginner level, mid-market, as well as the large enterprise level, agency level customers. But right now, our target segment has sort of shifted. We cater more to the mid and the large segment. However, having said that, it's not like the beginner level sellers or the long tail, customer segment cannot reach out to SellerApp at any given time. So for a beginner level seller, even if you don't know which category you can start selling on, you'd probably have to get some market intelligence or data points to ascertain what is it that you want to start selling, what would be your sales potential, what would be your profit margin, what do you want to really price the product at? And data requirement is critical at every stage and phase of your Amazon journey. Now, I just gave an example of a beginner level seller. Now, that data requirement could be very different from mid-market, because they might have already created like a brand awareness, but they're not getting sales. They're getting a lot of page views, they're getting a lot of impressions, but conversions aren't happening. Similarly, for a larger brand, you have an established brand, but again, their share of voice is being hampered on, or, competitors in that space are taking away, the larger chunk of the market. So as whichever segment you belong to, you can use SellerApp at any given point. You have a self-serve platform. You want to take advantage of our all-in-one dashboard where we have a freemium model where you can access all our primary features for free. And then mid-segment, because it's a SaaS company, a subscription-based model, you can, play around with the system, do it yourself with the dashboard, do your keyword research, product tracking, product intelligence, which means that you can compare your products vis-a-vis your competitors, see what keywords are working for you versus, what's, in the competitor listing and, converting for them, but not working for you. So ascertaining that will help you better your your product page and your product detail page and listing optimization. And as far as automation and advertising goes, I think, you want to really use it to the full potential. Now, what that entails is you want to have maybe a budget optimization. You want to have a bid optimization strategy, which goes into the deeper, more complexities of advertising per se. If you want to get more visibility, increase your outreach, of course, get more conversions and sales, that's when you need to utilize automation, because that's what it's going to cut down on some of those repetitive workflows, those mundane tasks, and also reduce the, human error and have more accuracy and efficiency, which will also save you a lot of turning, which a lot of us don't have the luxury of. Let me tell you that.
Most definitely. I think one of the places that I'm really interested in learning a bit more about is, let's say I am launching my very first product. Oftentimes when we're talking about, operating in a business, right, we have goals, and then we have, the methodology, the way of goals and objectives, and then we have methodology and the way of reaching those goals and objectives. And so a lot of these things that we're speaking about understanding your bid and your target market and all of these things is part of understanding that what methods you're going to use to reach those goals. But in terms of, a new brand on Amazon who needs to take that first step into the advertising world, are there, one or two or three goals that I should be kind of focusing on in the beginning that will help me get that launch pad into the different methodologies that I can implement down the line?
So I think, I would say there's not one or two. Like I said, at every given stage, there would be some or the other requirement, which is going to be absolutely essential. So at a beginner level, like I said, you have to understand what is the market demand like, what is the competition like, which category you're going to get into. Now, that's going to be different for a mid-market level where you want to start with, let's say, having the right keywords in place. Are you making sure you have A+ content, on your bullet points, on your titling? You have the right images, you have the right dimensions, which follow the guidelines of Amazon, Seller Central, and so on. So those requirements are going to be very different, and you would need to take a more holistic approach, I would say, Ian. It can't be one or the other. You need to start with the most basic, which is getting the right keywords, getting the right images, getting the right videography, having the right content for, are you able to sort of like when people are searching for, let's say, for example, if people are searching on the search term coffee mug, you want your brand to show up on the top ranks of those Amazon search pages. Now, how do you ensure all of that happens? By exactly doing all of that I said, and of course, having the right campaigns for your advertising, having the right strategies in place.
Right. And so that's broken down into like that first part where you're saying about, content, SEO. That's more of an organic approach to driving those leads, which hopefully lead to conversions. And then the second part of what you're saying is more of the paid approach.
Absolutely. The paid advertising, right? Which is the most, it's more like a double-edged sword. And, it's like the most efficient and complex and cumbersome, but vital and essential at the same time.
And so as, for brands, what is there like a benchmark or a KPI I should be thinking about when saying how much money should I be putting into the paid versus the organic? Because you can get support on the organic part as well with people writing content, people tracking, there's SEO companies out there which are search engine optimization companies that will help out with that organic reach, and then the paid. And so when I'm thinking about what is my spend from a marketing standpoint, how do I divide between the organic and the paid? And how do I kind of get to that point of saying, this is how much I'm spending in each one of the two categories?
Yeah, there's no such rule of thumb or standardization here, where it totally depends on the segmentation of what customer base you are in, and also what your budget looks like, right? How much you have in your pocket. You also want to make sure that you're not burning a hole in your pocket. So you can't be like, oh, you know what, I'm spending on advertising without really thinking of what I'm spending on, and yet I'm not getting any sales. So there's no such rule that how much, of course there are brands, and, when we speak to sellers, there are a lot of the things that they've done on the front, on the back end, which is correct, which has getting them organic sales. But if they want to scale their brand, they definitely need to enhance their advertising strategies and do more of that. In fact, that was a brand that I was speaking with just last week. And, I see organic, they're doing wonderfully well. Their ACoS was not, ACoS, this advertising cost of sale was not too high. They were doing great in terms of organic, SEO optimization and getting these organic numbers. But when they say they want to reach a bigger, a customer base or have more sales, have more revenue, have more net profit in their pocket, how do you ensure that you do that? Obviously, you need to harp on, more sophisticated ways of advertising, which they were not doing it up until this point. So I don't think, there is a set budget, or it all depends on what your pocket allows and how much do you want, to scale, what percentage. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm curious a little bit more about, this company that was, doing really well in organic, that was having trouble with the paid. What were some of the suggestions that were made to them, and were they easy implementations or were they more longer tail projects?
Which company are you referring to again?
This company that you were just speaking to that had the problem, that was doing really well in the...
So I think because they didn't experiment with advertising a lot. We told them that, yes, you're doing great. We looked at some of their, product detail pages. They were on point. Their A+ content was on point. As far as insertion of the right keywords was on point. Also, it was a more niche sort of a category where, there was less of, competition, but demand was still there. They were also exporting a lot of those products to the US and worldwide, like Canada and stuff like that. So they had a brand established, not just on Indian marketplace, but also the US marketplace, right? So from an organic standpoint, they were doing all the right things. Now the question comes, how do we do more of this that's coming organically to us? And for that, they were okay to spend the money, but they were just not doing it. They were not doing enough of, advertising. They were doing almost zilch, like, paid marketing. They were only organic. So you wouldn't know until you actually do and really see the results. So, what if I do like the right keyword targeting, which means that, I think advertisers can sort of select a specific keyword to trigger their ads when customers search for those terms. It's a very commonly used approach for like a sponsored product and sponsored brands. What can you do with product targeting? You can really, it allows you to select specific products or categories to target within your ads. It's also a very useful strategy for reaching competitor listings or complementary products, which again was missing in their whole campaign strategy that they had as far as advertising goes. They were not doing any sort of remarketing, which means that, which involves sort of re-engaging the customers and having like repeat customers who have previously interacted or visited your page or bought your product and, used your brand. Now that could also be a very highly effective way for increasing conversions. They were not doing any demographic targeting, which means, Amazon advertising also offers very geo-specific demographic targeting options, including age, gender, location, to really help you reach specific customer segments. None of this was being done.
The demographic targeting was similar to the Skoda.
Right.
Example, the case study from Amazon before.
Yes. So, if they did these things better, I'm sure the organic as well as the paid one would have also sort of, scaled up.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that is really interesting is one of the points you kind of touched on is it almost seems like the most basic form of advertising on Amazon is that if I put in iPhone 15 Pro case, there are 1,000 options. And so the very first row is my sponsored ads. And it says sponsored next to it. You can almost barely read that it says sponsored. To people, especially not in our space, they don't notice it. Like my mom doesn't notice it, and she'll go directly towards that first.
Right.
Rather than where me, I'm kind of looking at organic traffic because you often see that those have like a lot of sales and better reviews, and you can get even a bit of context there. But in terms of getting to those sponsored placements, in terms of advertising, that seems like kind of step one.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I'm looking at iPhone 15, but then I'm at the iPhone 15 Pro cases. Those are all keywords, all the different variations of that keyword. And then you're also looking at like the specific brands that you might be competing against. Some of the biggest brands in my head about iPhone cases is like the OtterBox. And so I might go and target OtterBox as well because my product is similar to that. And so am I understanding correctly that what I'm doing is kind of building out like these lists of keywords and say, for each one of these keywords, I'm producing different bids due to, I find the importance is based on the different.
Right. I mean, you can also mark some of those negative because you don't want to burn a hole in your pocket. And, the ones that are not converting for you, you want to reduce those wasted ad spends because you're still spending money on those keywords, which are not getting you any sales or conversions. So you typically want to, do that to also optimize on the budget because like I mentioned earlier, there will be times when you're still experimenting and you're still trying, different hidden trial methods and permutations and combinations of advertising and you wouldn't know what's working. You obviously need to have a more structured approach and a more holistic strategy on where and how you want to place, at what time of the day you want to place your ads, where you want to place the ads, specifically targeting that customer base that's actually visiting your, and now we have a feature called day parting, right? Which allows you to sort of schedule your ads in a way where depending on the time of the day, and you see more traffic coming in, let's say morning, but not in the evening, then you want to place your ads at that point. Because what we've also seen in the past with sellers is that, they have a daily budget set up on their, on their portal, and most of the budget will kind of be depleted by let's say within 2 hours or 3 hours or by afternoon. And they would have nothing to show towards the evening because their daily budget is just wiped out. So those are some of the things that you want to plan and, strategize on as well, which will, of course, have more product targeting, more appropriate ones, and also have budget optimization with it. And then just to add on to that, Ian, right? You mentioned sponsored products. I think, they are the most commonly used sponsored products and both, brands. They're typically, they promote individual product listings. So they will appear within the search results and on that product detail pages. So sellers will bid on the right keyword relevant to their product. So I use the example of coffee mug earlier. I'll probably use the same thing. If somebody's searching for it, you want to bid on that particular keyword, coffee mug. And you can get into variations. There's long tail, there's short tail. You can go white coffee mug or black coffee mug. But whatever, is most relevant to your brand, you want to use that as the keyword that you're bidding on.
Okay. And so I'm going to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole here, so forgive me. So when we're talking about keywords, so like one of the things, and I seem to remember having a conversation in the past, it's like spaces matter because coffee mug with a space and coffee mug without a space is not the same. Is that one keyword or two keywords?
It will be two keywords, coffee mug.
So that means in terms of my strategy, one of the things I need to look at is all the different ways that people might write coffee mug, be searching for my item, and in the way that people think, because there's so many different coffee mugs. It could be like your ceramic, like best dog parent in the world coffee mug, but it could also be like your stainless steel Yeti coffee mug. And then you can also have like travel mugs with a lid, without a lid, all these different things. And so you have to be really specific and potentially having a thought process of like the different mistakes. Also probably having a thought process of like the different mistakes that might be coming, like how people might miswrite, mispronounce, or not understand. Is that fair to say?
Right. And what's also important is, of course, creating or working using keywords that is most relevant to your product, but also analyzing what your competitor is using. Because there might be, as I said, there would be keywords that they're using, they're getting more conversions. And our tool also gives you that sort of, like that category benchmarking sort of data where, you can actually see how you're doing, what's your share of voice vis-a-vis your competition within that category, who's the top competitors. You can analyze all of the listings that they are working on or what keywords insertions they've had. And you can actually see, what is missing in your own listing. So you can also do those sort of things, the analysis, and then really tweak and change your listing based off that.
That's interesting. And so the keywords and the competitors that are also competing on my keywords, I understand that's available on SellerApp, but is that available to anyone using Amazon's DSP or on the demand side platform? So demand side platform is more, it extends your reach beyond, it's actually a more advanced advertising option that allows advertisers to programmatically buy display and video ads on and off Amazon. Mm-hmm. Well, it really offers advanced targeting options, including audience segmentation and retargeting. So to answer your question, yes.
So it's also very expensive. Not everybody can afford it. So not everybody chooses this option, unless you are making a lot of money and you're selling a lot of products and you have a great revenue, which is probably like in 6 figures, because it can be very heavy on your pocket.
It's just super interesting because, it seems like, and I guess this is how, business goes in general. Oftentimes it seems like a lot of this is pay to play, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you're a new or growing business and you're trying to beat some of your competitors that have been around for, some of these competitors are around for 100 years, right? And, if you're thinking about, Procter & Gamble sells everything. You can find all kinds of Procter & Gamble products on Amazon. And so companies like that are going out and they're buying these ad spaces, and me coming in with my niche product that's supposed to be the new, I don't know, like Head and Shoulders, right? Yeah. It's supposed to be a competitor for Head and Shoulders. How do I capture that segment when I'm just, this tiny speck in the sea of Amazon?
I think, again, talking about those targeting options, by doing where it's sort of targeting on the basis of keywords, product, even interest-based targeting, where you can reach your customers based on their interests and behaviors, which are really derived from their shopping habits and interactions on Amazon. And yeah, I think that would be it, primarily. That's what I would do.
And one of the things that you caught my attention with earlier in the talk, and this might go along the same thing, is retargeting. And, there's a lot of talk about, consumers abandoning carts and going to pages, but going away. How does that retargeting work? Because now that I know that customer has seen me, so I don't have to introduce myself, I have to reintroduce myself. How does that work within the Amazon ecosystem?
So there's an attribution program on Amazon where, of course, you can find out analytics and who's visited your page. And then most customers these days, and I'm not talking about the big level customers here, Ian, from mid to large segment, they are not just e-commerce, marketplace. They're probably selling on Amazon. They're probably selling on Shopify, Walmart, maybe Etsy, and many more, right? And they have their own website, they have their storefront. They're also doing off Amazon, like social media marketing and so on and so forth. So now, what you can typically do to retarget is at multiple touch points, reach out to them. And you have the analytics, you have the data for getting which customers, what time of the day they visited your page. They probably clicked on the product but did not buy it. You can keep showing them their products, through analytics, and maybe going after their social media and like using these marketing advertising strategies again, product targeting. That they would be looking, if somebody has the right buyer intent, and by buyer intent means they have the right intent to buy, they're not just like window shopping, right? And they know they're in real need. Like, say, for example, what a right buyer intent would be gift for, I don't know, Valentine's Day. You want to buy a gift for your boyfriend or girlfriend, right? You have the right intent to purchase that gift. So that, the person is targeting that and most definitely wants to buy a present, then you can target those customers at that point if you have a relevant product, of course. I just gave an example.
Yeah, that's really interesting because that also brings me back to the search engine optimization and, potentially sponsored placements on
there are multiple ways. You can also place your ad on competitive listing. Somebody's probably searching for not your brand, but somebody else's brand. But you can, promote your ad there, because when you're visiting, let's say, Coke, and you see like a Pepsi ad, then you might be like, okay, let me try this out, or this is a new brand, or and you say, you have a big share of voice. You're competing with the larger brands like Unilever, Procter & Gamble, or whatever it may be. And I want to show my new brand of a shampoo with, it's more attractive images, and I'll probably place my advertisement at that point there on their product pages itself, where when a competitor product or a complementary product, you should be able to advertise your own product through, of course, advertising strategy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. But it's super interesting that, we've talked about a couple of things today. We've talked about, advertising for your specific niche, advertising on your competitors, keywords, advertising on doing some retargeting as well. And one of the things that's also super interesting is what you had said about, the Valentine's Day gifts or, Christmas presents, because Christmas presents can literally be anything at this point.
Absolutely.
Right? And so it could be, we spoke about coffee mugs, we spoke about Coke and Pepsi, we spoke about iPhone cases, and these can all go under the umbrella.
FMCG product?
Yeah, we spoke about viewing. My wife buys me Head and Shoulders for the holidays.
That's why you use that example.
And socks. Getting older sucks. It just And I'm excited about it. I'm like a new pack of socks and some anti-danger shampoo. Like, that's awesome. But yeah, it's a really interesting way to, try to wrap your head around keywords and targeting the right keywords, because it's not just what you're selling. Like, you're not just selling your product. You're selling the solution to all these other things. Like, what is the problem? The problem is Ian doesn't have a gift for the holidays, right? So what do is I'm typing my problem into Amazon search and saying, Amazon, solve this problem for me. What do I buy Dad for Father's Day? I have no idea, but it could be a wallet, but it could be a weed whacker. My dad, George, would love a weed whacker and he's not getting one. But that's the point, is that the keyword, from what I'm understanding from you, the keyword optimization is about solving problems, about helping that customer get to that place faster.
Right. Absolutely. And again, Amazon advertising also offers a range of, ad formats, which we just discussed, including, of course, sponsored brands, sponsored products, sponsored display, and many more, which really allows advertisers to, engage with customers at various stages of their buying journey. And so these ads will appear either on the, the search results or product pages, even third-party websites. So that's how, when you talked about remarketing, it really extends the reach of your product, and it is way beyond Amazon as well.
Amazing. So Priyanka, as we kind of get to the end of this episode, I wanted to provide, a little bit of time. If there's anything you'd like to add, any conclusions you'd like to make, any trends that we should be looking out for in the near future, the floor is yours.
Sure. I think they're one in many. I mean, there's so many, I would say, and I just want to list down a few of them. So I think as machine learning technology becomes more sophisticated, brands will begin to leverage AI and automation to enhance their customer experience. We'll see businesses continue to sort of incorporate voice shopping to make it even simpler for customers to buy products. And, conversational shopping can really help you interact with your customers in real time. I think customers will also want a more preferred payment option or a method during the checkout process. And I think we see a lot of more cashless and touchless stores coming out with Amazon. So I think there are more things to look out for there. I think videos are an effective vehicle for marketing your products. And I have felt personally that watching a video versus an image or a photo works better. And according to survey and statistics, I think a lot of people also prefer video ads versus just like a static image. I mean, I think the advent of Amazon's sponsored brand video has also been like a game changer. I mean, this format really allows sellers and brands to feature a product with an auto-playing, video option. And then I think we're already coming up with some of these, some portals are already using, or some marketplaces are already utilizing, like product visualizers or product builders, 3D mapping and augmented reality to make it even faster and easier, convenient for customers to visualize and explore, like try out your products online. I don't know if you've noticed, there's some sunglass brand when you wear it, you can choose this option and how it looks on you, or a particular dress or a shoe, whatever, how it looks on you is like a 3D image of that. And that makes your decision-making much, easier and faster, because you obviously can't touch it, feel the product. It's very intangible unless you go to a store and buy it. But if you're buying it online, then you want to make sure it looks good on you. So I think that would be it. And then I think omnichannel would continue to expand. I mean, it's going strong this year. I'm sure it will continue for next year as well. I mean, today's shoppers value convenience over anything else. So it's not just when you're, you can just on the go, you can, purchase and, buy, sell products, whatever, makes it very, very easy and just enhances the whole customer experience per se.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that there's a lot of really exciting things to come. I'm actually really excited about voice shopping.
Yeah. Have you tried it before?
I haven't tried it before, but I think it's something that's really cool. I also love that every so often you read an article about, like some kid ordering something on Alexa on their parents' account.
I know.
And I think that's hysterical. And I think that Amazon will start to fix those things as well. But yeah, I think that the technology that's coming out and the way that brands are going to be able to reach us and really give us what we want when we want it is super, super interesting. And not just trying to sell a product or sell a solution is like really what you're seeing these brands do more consistently and just better. And so, Priyanka, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise, everything advertising, both from the organic side and the paid side. I think that there's a bunch of nuggets of gold in there that sellers can use to implement on their Amazon account.
And many more coming. So every year every month there's like a new update coming on Amazon as well. So I think they're becoming more and more customers also, and, thinking and creating tools that will aid and help them to really ace their journey on the biggest marketplace that we have here. And dying anytime soon.
Yeah.
They're just growing by leaps and bounds. So, yeah.
It was definitely not going anywhere. So, Priyanka, thanks again so much.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you for having me.